Welcome to Crime Fighters News Studios. It's good to be with you again. I am Hope Mwejiofo Ukafo, and also reading is
Peter Onche.
In Niger State, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency nabbed 3 drug barons. Details of these and more when we return. Welcome back. The Inspector General of Police, Tafa Balogun, has commissioned a motorcycle welfare scheme for police personnel throughout the country. Speaking at the ceremony which took place at Police College Ikeja, Lagos, the Inspector General of Police, Tafa Balogun, says the welfare scheme, which was solely financed by Actra Nigeria Limited in conjunction with the Nigeria Police Force Cooperative Society, is meant to ease the traffic problems being encountered by men of the Nigeria Police Force.
When we came to office some 2 years back, we had an 8-point strategy, and the last, but certainly not the least on that program, is welfare package. Welfare package knows no limits, and it continues to manifest itself in various forms. Just about a year ago, the cooperative society had motorcycle scheme, and on that occasion we did say that that was the beginning of so many other nice things to come. I could recall that the number of motorcycles we gave out on that occasion was sponsored substantially by the Nigerian Cooperative Authority. But we thought that was the best we could give. But not quite long after that exercise, some gentlemen walked to us and said that they could perform the same feat and even do it better without our committing 1 kobo of police fund into this exercise. So we were wondering how they would do it. They worked the scheme out and perfected the whole arrangement in such a way that voluntarily people serving in the Nigerian Police Force who are interested in taking motorcycles to facilitate effective performance of duties will, under the cover of the police personnel, take the motorcycles without paying a single kobo. By our other arrangement, they were to pay a sum of 25,000. That was the last one we did. But on this arrangement and other subsequent arrangements, no policeman will have to pay a single kobo before they are entitled to this scheme. And at the same time, the exercise is not costing any police establishment, cooperative or no cooperative, a single kobo. What we have done, by my understanding, is that we have facilitated a working relationship that will make our policemen more comfortable by securing for them these motorcycles at a relaxed loan rate, while at the same time they are able to discharge their duties very effectively. And I think the repayment period is spread over as long as 24 calendar months instead of the 18 calendar months which we had. So we found this one a more relaxed, cheaper, and more pragmatic approach, and that is why today we are here assembled, yet in furtherance of better working conditions for the men of the Nigerian Police Force.
In his remarks, The Executive Director of Actra Nigeria Limited, Mr. Ononche Ugbabe, says they decided to assist the Nigeria Police Force out of his conviction that the police needs help from the private sector.
Really, we came up with this scheme for subsidizing transportation problems in workers all over the country. We've done 18,000 units in Taraba State, 10,000 in some other Borno states and some other states. And we thought that why not the police? Since the welfare of the police impacts directly on every Nigerian, more or less. We expect policemen to take care of our property, our lives, safeguard us on the highways. I think they are number one to be thought about when one wants to do anything welfare. So we decided to extend it to the police.
The Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Alhaji Bello Lafiaji, has expressed disgust at the rising trend of youth involvement in drug trafficking. According to Assistant Director in charge of Public Affairs of the agency, Jonah Achema, Lafiaji stated this in Enugu State during the public destruction of 2 tons of drug exhibits jointly seized by the Enugu, Anambra, and Ebonyi State commands of the agency. Lafiaji also used the opportunity to appeal to Nigerians to join hands in fighting this ugly malaise, which he says portends dire consequences for the future of the country.
The new British High Commissioner to Nigeria, His Excellency Richard Gosney, has rated the performance of the Nigeria Police Force high following a noticeable drop in crime wave in the country. Making this known on Thursday, July 29th, when he paid a courtesy visit on the Inspector General of Police, Tafa Balogun, at the Force Headquarters Abuja, Gosney says the purpose of his visit was to demonstrate the confidence of his home government on the capability of the Nigeria Police Force in the fight against crime and the general enforcement of law and order. Responding, the Inspector General of Police, Tafa Balogun, thanked the British High Commissioner for the good things he said about the Nigeria Police Force and pledged his continued cooperation and close working relationship with the British High Commission and the British government at large.
A 29-year-old trailer driver, Benjamin Joseph, who specializes in ferrying Indian hemp for drug barons in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, has landed in the net of the Abuja command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. According to the Federal Capital Territory commander of the agency, Ilya Isiaku, the suspect was arrested with 11 50-kilogram bags of Indian hemp being conveyed to Abuja in a trailer marked XC174KJA. Isiaku further revealed that the dispute over the 15,000 naira payment between the driver and the owner of the consignment attracted a police detective on duty who arrested the suspect and handed him over to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency for prosecution.
In its determination to curb crime in Lagos, the Lagos State Police Command last week smashed a robbery gang in which 3 members of the gang were shot dead and 1 arrested along the Apapa-Oshodi Expressway. At a press briefing held at the Area D Police Command Headquarters, Mushi, Lagos, the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Israel Ajao, says the suspects made their Waterloo when they engaged operatives of the State Command in an exchange of gunfire.
Pursuant to our determination to rid Lagos of all criminal activities, especially violent crimes, the renewed onslaught against these vices has yielded a positive result in the last 24 hours, resulting in the death of 3 armed robbers and the arrest of 1 other. Information was received at the command control room that a gang of armed robbers was operating at numbers 1 and 3 Ibiyemi Street at Ajao Estate in Lagos. That was the takeoff point of the robbers. Due to this prompt information by members of the public, Operation Fire for Fire patrol teams were directed to the scene from areas D, where we are now, F in Ikeja, and C in Surulere, as well as the state headquarters Operation Fire for Fire teams, with a view to apprehending the robbers and recovering their arms. On getting to the scene at Ajao Estate, the robbers who had accomplished their mission were discovered to have escaped towards Mile 2, and the police teams went in pursuit. The robbers moved to Amu Wardofin, where they robbed one Kenechuku Onwufobi male of Plot 26, Block C, Amuwe Estate, of unspecified amount of money and a space wagon car with registration number AW874KSF. The robbers, however, met their end at Ijesha-Tedo as they were successfully halted by the Operation Fires for Fire police teams drawn from Orile and Ijesha-Tedo police stations, respectively. The robbers, realizing that they were trapped in between the pursuing and the waiting policemen, opened fire indiscriminately on the policemen in their bid to escape, and a gun battle started. During the gun battle, which lasted for about 1 hour, 3 of the robbers, namely Shegun alias Ewe, Lekan alias God's Will, and one other who is yet to be identified, were shot dead by the police.
Items recovered from the suspects include 2 pump-action shotguns with numbers P913126 and R004932, a Space Wagon Previa GL bus, and a Toyota Hiace bus with registration number CK442GGE. The arrested suspect, Lukman Arikawe of Isaloko in Shagamu, Ogun State, has made useful statements to the police and will soon appear in court. In the same vein, the Ilukpeji Police Community Relations Committee held its official fundraising and launching of their ultra-modern Secretariat building project at the Ilukpeji Women Association Recreation Hall, Ilukpeji Estate. Speaking at the ceremony, the chairman of the PCLC Ilukpeju, Chief M.A. Aniyikaye, says the need to build the Secretariat was born out of the conviction that the Nigeria Police Force needs to be assisted to make their job a lot easier.
If you get to Ilukpeju police station, you will pity the policemen because they have no office accommodation. They just live under the sheds. Their bags and materials are scattered all over the place. This is why we felt that we should be able to give them an accommodation for their offices so that they can be comfortable.
In his own remarks, the Divisional Police Officer for Ilukpeju Police Station, Adegoke Fayode, says his men would make good use of the Secretariat when completed.
The building is supposed to be a one-story building, and the top floor is going to house the Secretariat of the PCRC. That is where they will be having their meetings, seminars, and conferences. While the ground floor will be given to the police on a platter of gold as offices and accommodation for some of our officers who has to be accommodated in the barracks.
At the ceremony were important dignitaries which included the first civilian governor of Lagos State, Alhaji Lateef Kayode Jakonde, and the Federal Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Chief Mrs. Mobalaji Oshomo.
The Niger State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has arrested 3 drug barons dealing in substances suspected to be cannabis sativa, popularly known as Indian hemp. According to the State Commander of the agency, Joshua Amajin, 2 of the suspects were arrested at Guraka area of Suleja with 266.9 kilograms of the deadly weeds, while the 3rd suspect, a driver, was caught in Kontagora with 27.8 kilograms of the substance inside his bus. Amajin further commended members of the Nigerian Police Force and the State Security Services for their cooperation towards the apprehension of the suspects.
The attention of the Police High Command has been drawn to a newspaper report titled Airways Probe, Police Declare 7 to 8 Wanted, which appeared on the front page of a popular newspaper of 2nd of August 2004, where it was alleged that the police had declared some prominent persons wanted in connection with an inquiry into the activities of the defunct Nigeria Airways. According to a statement made available to Crime Fighters News from the office of the first Public Relations Officer, Chris Olakwe, the Police High Command wishes to categorically state that the news report is completely untrue, baseless, and a mischievous fabrication premised on suspicion and speculation. The statement goes further to appeal to all and sundry and also admonish newspaper reporters to cross-check their stories before publication in order to avoid misinformation and sensationalism.
The Bauchi State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has so far arrested 35 drug suspects this year. Revealing this to Crime Fighters News, the State Commander, Omolade Fabayode, says 51.490 kilograms of hard drugs, made up of 50.815 kilograms of Indian hemp and 575 grams of psychotropic substances were seized from the suspects. According to Fabayode, 5 out of the 35 suspects have been convicted by the Federal High Court in Jos, Plateau State, adding that 50 persons have already been counseled and rehabilitated.
And that concludes Crime Fighters News. From Peter.
Don't go away yet. Crime Fighters will be back shortly.
Bye for now.
Crime Fighters, promoting security consciousness.